Hey you guys, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. And today's video, as you guys can tell, is going to be me recommending books based off of Fine Line by Harry Styles. And I don't have the album cover with me at all because I'm broke. So we're just sharing my speaker. Before I get started, I just wanted to say a couple things. One, thank you guys for being patient last week. I was really sick the week before and basically Death was sending me DMs being like, hey babe, take better care of yourself. I was out for the count and I don't have my Queer Lit vlog or my wrap up because one, I was very sick during Queer Lit, and while I did get reading done, my vlogging is me like half asleep, like updating it on my phone, like being like, yep, I'm still alive, I read, I enjoyed it. No vlog for this round, but you will see my wrap up for Queer Lit meshed with my wrap up for the month, so there's that. And then another thing for this video, actually not so much for, just cleaning house. For this video, I chose a lot of these books based off either the feel of the song, the certain lyric or something, or like how it made me feel. So it's, I mean, if you guys don't agree, sucks to suck, but that's how I chose the books. I'm just not even going to talk about it because I make myself feel bad. So I also want to warn you guys that I cannot sing nor dance. So if you guys hear me sing or dance, because I will be speeding up the clips where I am singing. If you guys hear that, I apologize, but let's just get in the video. So the first song, I'm going to do this in order, or like album order. So the first song is Golden. You were way too bright for me, I'm hopeless, broken. So you wait for me to shine. I'm asking to fly. You're so golden. You're so golden. My head, holy shit, so scared for you. I don't want to be alone. When it is, I want to let you know. I don't want to be alone. That's basically the bit that got me into thinking about this book, and I struggled with Golden. I think Golden is one of my favorite songs off the album. Really, the entire album is pretty solid, but I'm biased, so. But like I said, this one took me the longest to find a song for, and I asked my friends, and my friend Andrea said that the song made her think of Everything by Nicola Yoon, and then that got me thinking. And the song that I chose for it, which is inspired by my friend's answer, is actually The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I don't know why. This book takes place in a single day. The main character, whose name I'm forgetting, Natasha, is the main girl. She's being deported in the day and she's trying to find a way to fix it. And then she runs into Daniel, who is this very dreamy, like a very dreamer, very romantic kind of guy. And they fall in love during the course of the day, and it's based off of a lot of different perspectives. It plays around with the concept of fate a lot, and it took me a while. I had a feeling about this book when I was listening to Golden, and then I thought about it, and this song just fits. I chose it based off of Daniel as a character, primarily because he is a very dreamer character. He thinks he's very romantic. He has a lot of thoughts for his future, and I feel like the lines, "You're so golden," and I know that you're scared because hearts get broken, and then I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone when it ends. I feel like kind of sums up his personality and his relationship with Natasha as it grows on throughout the book. That's where I was going with when I chose this book for this particular song, and it just reminds me of Daniel's personality so much. So we're gonna move on to the next one, which is literally one of my favorites from the album. I'm gonna be saying that for the entirety of this book, like this video, so if you guys know like the order of these songs, you know how this is gonna go. So, Watermelon Sugar. Berries, one summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want more berries, and it's what I'm feeling. It's a wonderful morning. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I could ever go without. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if I could ever go without. Wanna sugar high, wanna sugar high, wanna sugar high, wanna sugar high, wanna sugar high. Okay, I'm gonna stop because I just listened to the entire song. I listened to the song because it's one of the singles, so I had some time to figure it out. But I listened to the song on repeat for one day. And this book, I had just finished reading it, and it just fits so well, and it fits the cover and like the color scheme too, and that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. If you guys don't know what this book is about, like I feel like you have been living under a potential rock. I'm here to educate you. But essentially, this book follows Alex Claremont Diaz. He is the first son of the United States. His mother is running for re-election in the year, and he and his family go across the pond to celebrate the royal wedding. There, he runs into Prince Henry, who has my heart, and they end up with a slight catastrophe that could turn into a scandal. So in order to fix it, they form a fake friendship, and they eventually fall in love. I chose this for this particular song because one, I think it's just because I read the book and finished it at the same time Watermelon Sugar actually came out, or around the time of, but it's just Watermelon Sugar is such a fun song. It's very upbeat, it's very fun. It's a quick song to get through, but you still love it. I just love it, and I feel like the beat of the song and like the theme of the song and how fun the song is goes really well with Red, White, and Royal Blue. There's a lot of fun moments in this book, it's very quickly paced, the romance is cute, and like the song, there are hints of smut in there, so it just fits. So I just had to choose Red, White, and Royal Blue for this, and like it's perfect for the song, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. The next song you guys also should know is one of the singles, and it's again one of my favorites. So let's listen to some Adore You. You don't have to say nothing, you don't have to say you're mine, honey. I want to fight for you, just let me adore you, honey. I want to fight for you, just let me adore you. That's the only thing I'll ever do. That's the only thing I'll ever do. Really, my like dance moves when I'm sitting down is just kind of like. But anyway, so the song I struggled with this one. I struggled with a handful of these songs, not gonna lie, because I had like maybe a weekend to put them together. But I changed this one quite a bit, just because I could have gone with an oldie and a goodie, and that would have been The Infernal Devices. But I decided to go with something else within a similar vein, but that is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This is the continuation of the Mortal Instruments series, more or less, where instead of following our main cast of characters, we end up with kind of the next generation, the next set of Shadowhunters, and there we meet Emma and Julian, and that's where I chose this song for. I felt like this song kind of had this theme of not being able, like, you're very okay with being just around the person, even though you are madly in love with them. And I feel like this really sums up Emma and Julian's relationship, especially from Julian's perspective. I feel like Julian is the kind of person who was very head over heels for Emma and loved her so dearly, but knew they couldn't be together. But while he did accept it and was heartbroken over it, I think he had reached a point in his life where he was just comfortable being around her, and like even though he'd never say the words and he'd never get to hear the words, he was okay just adoring her from afar, and he'd like walk through fire for her and everything. I think that their relationship fits this song perfectly. Things just stay the same. La la la. All the lights couldn't put out the dark. Running through my heart. On top and they know who you are. Know who you are. Do you know who you are? Okay, so for this next one, which is Lights Up, I struggled with this one a bit, which is weird because this was one of the first books that I chose, but I struggled with trying to make sense of it in my head, and I ended up choosing The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a YA magical realism book that follows Blue Sergeant as she and this kind of cast of boys look for a dead Welsh king hidden in like the caves of Virginia, essentially. Like I said, I struggled with this. Like somehow the vibe of the song just reminds me a lot of The Raven Cycle, and the concept of Harry's song, which she has explained in interviews, is about like self-reflection and finding yourself and like being really like learning to be comfortable in that concept of knowing who you are. I feel like fits this cast of characters very well because they start off very, very lost. Like they have this concept of themselves, but at the end of the day, when those boundaries and those questions are pushed, they don't really know at their core who they are. And I think throughout the series, they find that, but it's still very much a question of, do I know who I am? Will I ever know who I am? And I feel like it just fits this concept with Lights Up very well. And I don't know, I just can see the song playing as they're driving through Virginia, and it's weird, but somehow it fits in my mind. It's one of the, like, there's a lot of self-reflection in these books, and the song is all about self-reflection and like figuring out who you are, and it just fits, and I'm not complaining about it either. So don't you call me what you used to call me. I'm fast. I can't do I can tell what you were at your best. There's a piece of you and how I dress. Take it as a compliment. Okay, since I can't really sing to the song, or I can't dance to that song very much without like bursting into tears, we're gonna stop it up there. However, the song I chose, this is like, I knew I wanted to include this book in this video because Harry has mentioned that this book is very Fleetwood Mac inspired, and I feel like it would have been a travesty, but I didn't know where to put it. And somehow this song fit really well for this book anyway, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a historical fiction book that is very Fleetwood Mac inspired. We follow this band called the Six and Daisy Jones as they come together to form Daisy Jones and the Six, and at the end of the day, the band ended up falling apart for reasons no one understands, and now they're barely coming together to explain their rise, their fall, and what caused it, essentially. I chose this book because I felt like the lyrics fit not only Daisy and Billy's relationship in terms of like them falling in love with other people and like that concept of like just being really uncomfortable and really kind of lost without them, but also I feel like it somehow it has an aspect and an angle toward Billy and Camilla's relationship and Warren and Karen's relationship. There's like, it's an open wound still, but and like the other person is hard to move on, but it's like in front of your face and it's for you to see, and you have all these questions in your head about like, do you still call him what you call me? Please don't do that. And it's just the concept of like figuring out like where you stand with this person, and it's hard to explain, but it's along that same vein of like you separating from someone you really love and care about, and then you see them with someone new, and all you can really ask yourself are like the haunting questions that you always have, which is like, what do you guys do for fun now? Do you guys do what we used to do? Do you call him the same nicknames that you used to call me? Is it something new? Was I anything special? That kind of vibe was that I was getting from it, and I feel like this book, with all the complex relationships and the dynamics that had happened and that had transpired over the course of the book, just fit that song and the story really well. So, oh yeah, and that was Cherry, by the way. For those of you guys who don't know the album, that was Cherry. The next one is going to make me cry, so here we go! Of course you start there. What am I now? What am I now? What if I'm someone I don't want around? I'm falling again, I'm falling again, I'm falling. What if I'm down? What if I'm out? What if I'm someone you won't talk about? I'm falling again, I'm falling again, I'm falling. Okay, I'm gonna stop there because I'm crying. You said you care. Originally, I went with History's All You Left Me by Adam Silvera, primarily because the song has the concept of just feeling lost and confused after a breakup, and I feel like that fits Griffin really well. But I think a better book for this song and the overall tone of just like being lost and like trying to figure out like, were you someone that you were proud of in this relationship, or after the relationship, does this person still talk about you and all that stuff, would be More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. Now, I have talked about this book a couple times on my channel. It's one of my favorites. It's Adam Silvera's debut novel, and essentially this is about Aaron Soto, who is kind of reeling from the death of his father. His father's suicide. He doesn't really know where he is, and he feels like he's starting to get happy again with his girlfriend. And then he meets Thomas, and he finds out things about himself that don't really line up with who he thinks he is. He also is starting to question his sexuality, and there's also this aspect of this, what's it called again? The Lateo Institute, where they can go in and remove very disturbing and very traumatizing memories from you and like make you happy again. And I feel like this fits that song a little bit more because the book follows Aaron as he figures out his life again. He is trying to figure out who he is beyond this relationship with his girlfriend, beyond the loss of his father, and trying to figure out if he's falling in love with someone else he feels like he shouldn't be. And it's very confusing for him, and it's a very lost thing, and you can tell that he doesn't know if he's becoming a person he's happy with, or if it's like he's better off just not having these memories anymore. And I feel like that aspect of the book, or the aspect of the book, can be transferred really well into this into the song, because it has a lot of that feeling of loss and just like questioning everything about it that tends to happen with like when you lose someone, either romantically or platonically or whatever. So it's just a very heavy song that fits a very heavy book. So this is the book I'm going with. And yes, History's All You Left Me can also go with it because they both deal with the topic of like loss. But I feel like this one fits a little bit more than History's All You Left Me. The next one is To Be So Lonely. I don't know why it's such a cute song. Don't blame me for falling, I was just a little kid. Oops. Don't blame the drum calling, I was ready for it all. I don't song here, I was just an arrogant son of a bitch. I'm sorry. Don't call me baby again. You got your reasons. But you don't to be so lonely. Okay, for this song, I struggled with it a bit just because I could have done Daisy Jones and the Six with this one, I feel. But the one that I chose, because I had been rereading this book when the album dropped, I believe. I reread the book the week before the album dropped, and that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you guys don't know, this is essentially about Evelyn Hugo, who is a bit of an enigma to the Hollywood world. She has had 7 husbands at the height of like the golden age of Hollywood, and now that she's old and like her health is failing her, she agrees to an interview with a downtrodden writer to explain and explore her 7 husbands and share the story and stories with the world. I chose this book because there's a certain romance in here. If y'all don't know, Evelyn is bisexual. She has a love interest in this book that I cannot spoil, because like while her being bi is not a spoiler, the story unfolds and like, but it's something, I think the line that got it and that just reminded me so much of this book was that I'm just an arrogant son of a bitch who can't express when he's sorry. I think that's the lyric. And it just feels like a very Evelyn line to say. She does come off as very arrogant. She's a very self-absorbed person. She does a lot of things for fame. And there are a lot of instances where she reasons out her actions in an attempt to be like, no, I'm doing this for our career, da-da-da-da-da. And she doesn't know when she can say sorry, how to say sorry exactly. These things just keep coming up throughout the entirety of the book. I think it's very fitting considering it's talking about the immaturity of your relationship and like the immaturity of yourself in a relationship, the song anyway. And I think there are a lot of immature moments in Evelyn's relationships throughout the entirety of this novel. So very good, but still there's a little bit of a punch to what the song is saying, which I feel like is also very indicative of Evelyn's very strong personality. The next song on this album is actually a personal favorite of mine, so like, if this one lasts a lot longer, it's because I love it so much. She lives in daydreams with me. She's the first one that I see, and I don't know why, I don't know who she is. Okay. I could go on with the song forever. And I almost chose Cersei for this song just because I feel like Cersei has this, when people come to her island, she has this very dreamlike quality. But I ended up choosing, I'm kidding, I'm 100% kidding. Can you imagine if I actually chose You for She? Like, can you hear, like, I just think that Beck is like an amazing human being, and like, she just works really well with this song, and like, I can totally see why Joe does what he does. Like, no. The book that I actually chose for She is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is one of my favorite classics of all time. I need to reread it, but this essentially follows Nick Carraway as he, yes, Nick, right? Yeah, as he comes back to this new world, this new 1920s world, and runs into Jay Gatsby, who is this mystery of this neighborhood, of this entire world. There he finds out that Jay has been harboring his feelings for Nick's cousin, and it just turns into this weird downward world spiral of like trying to impress people. And I feel like this really fits Jay and Daisy's relationship because she has a lot of qualities, like the song She, not Daisy. She has a lot of qualities in terms of like just being this really weird daydream kind of gal. She's a mystery, but you're so drawn to her and kind of like high-key obsessed with her. So I feel like this song could really just be Jay going off about his undying love for Daisy and like this very deep idealization of this person that you don't really know that well, but you're willing to risk everything for. So I just think this fits so well. And like the guitar riff and She also just has my heart, so it just works out for the best. Alright, so the next one is another one of my favorites, because it's just an upbeat song. So
Sunflower, sunflower, my eyes, want you more on the melody. Let me inside, try to get to know it. Sunflowers, sometimes keep it sweet in your memory. I was tongue-tied.
I don't wanna make you feel bad, but I could try not to talk to you. Sunflower, I can't want you anymore. Kiss in the kitchen like it's a dance floor. I couldn't want you anymore tonight. Now this choice may be a little out there, but somehow it fits, and I feel like if the song had been out earlier, it could have also made it into the soundtrack of the actual movie that it becomes, and that is Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I know this is a very hard-hitting book. This is a very emotional and heavy book, and Sunflower Volume 6 is a very light and fluffy kind of song, but I think the vibe of it reminds me of Charlie's kind of love and adoration for Sam. It's just a very light-hearted thing that he has with her. It's a very cutesy thing that he has, and some of his dreams with her, it just screams to me that it's like, I couldn't want you anymore. I'd like to kiss you on our kitchen like it's a dance floor. And it just screams that, and it's just, I don't know. I tried finding another book for this particular song, but every time my mind kept going back to Charlie and his kind of very light approach to his feelings for Sam and how that unfolds. And I also just feel like this book, the song goes really well with the soundtrack of the movie. And I don't think that helped at all. So this is a book that I chose, and I just think it just suits that kind of budding relationship and that crush that Charlie develops on Sam. It's just very cute and very pure, but also still very intense. Somehow camera's dying, and I have a couple more songs to go. So we're gonna work through this. Through Paris until Rome and dance, think about you. Time under the canyon moon. I'm going, oh I'm going, I'm going, oh I'm going, I'm going, oh I'm going home. So the book that I chose for Canyon Moon is another one that kind of is a little out there, but it makes sense when you think about it. And that is Where She Went by Gail Forman. This is the sequel to If I Stay, where it follows 3 years after the events of If I Stay, so I can't really get into it, and it follows Adam's perspective this time. And I chose this book because I feel like the concept of Canyon Moon is just feeling really, not lost per se, but missing the place that made you feel like home, and thus making you feel kind of lost. And Adam has been missing Mia for a long time now. He is now a celebrity. She is also a celebrity in her own right. And at the end of the day, he just wants to come home to her. And it's just this concept of I'm going home to a place that makes me feel like myself at the end of the day. And that was Mia for him. So I chose this book, and I feel like it just has that sense of I'm lost, but this is where I feel most at home. And I'm going to do what it takes to make my way home. We can find a place to good, and we can treat people with kindness. Find a place to good. I got a good feeling. I'm just taking off, floating up and feeling, dropping into deep. So this book I ended up choosing right away. Once I saw the title of this book, the song, which is Treat People with Kindness, I knew right off the top of my head what this book was going to be. And that is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. This is Mason's debut novel, and it follows Ben DeBacker as they come out as non-binary and are kicked out of their house. They then have to live in their sister's house and finish out their senior year, and not really try to make a big deal of themselves. They just kind of want to stay hidden and just finish out the year. Then they meet Nathan. Now I chose this book just because while it does sound really sad, I feel like there are a lot of tones of just being kind to people in this book. We see Ben start to find their found family. Nathan is just this unfailingly kind person to Ben, and it's just the sweetest thing in the world, I think. Like I said, I knew right away I hadn't even heard of the song. I had seen the track list, and I was Treat People with Kindness, and I was that's I Wish You All the Best. No matter what happens in the song, it's just a very happy song. It's a very light song, and I feel like despite the kind of hard-hitting themes in this book, there is still this lightness to it, and still at this core is about just finding this family and just being kind to one another and all the good things. So definitely this song fits that book, and I have no regrets whatsoever about choosing this book for Treat People with Kindness without even having heard the song first. If that tells you anything about how strongly I feel about this book tied to this song, now you know. Alright, so the last one is Fine Line, and my battery's dying, so we're gonna have to speed this up a smidge. We'll be a fine line. 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 Okay, so this one.
Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening. And it's
So for this one, I went through my Goodreads for a bit just because it's such a calm song, but it's also kind of like this comfort that's like, for some reason it just makes me think that everything's gonna be okay. But also we're all like teetering on this concept of like okay and not okay. So the relationship is like always like that fine line. And I ended up choosing a trilogy, and that is Kissed by an Angel by Elizabeth Chandler. This is like a 90s book. I've had this for a while. So essentially, this follows this couple who fall in love really quickly, as most 90s couples tend to do. And then Tristan, who is the boyfriend, ends up dying in an accident, and he finds himself becoming a guardian angel for his girlfriend to find out what happened to him that night and exactly how he can protect her from whatever happening to him. There's a mystery aspect, there's a thriller aspect, but at the end of the day, it's about this love story, and it's just this very fine line between like loving this person because they are your true love, and then like letting them go because you need to. The ending of this book makes me a little emo, and so does this song, so it's perfect. There's just this feeling in the song. It's like we'll be okay, no matter what. We'll just be this fine line of like always being like just being in this like weird in between. And I feel like Tristan and Ivy's relationship, where they're still in love with each other but they cannot be together, and they've accepted that they're just gonna be okay, is what drew me to putting this book on this list for this specific song. That's just how it works. It's just very like calming, and like at the end of the day, this is where we're at and we're okay with it, even if it's not the situation we'd like. But that is it for this video. I'm actually really proud of this video. It's one of the first like original content videos that I've done in a long time that I've felt super comfortable with and just super happy with. So like give me a thumbs up and a like, and if this video gets you to pick up any of these books, or if you agree with my choices in any way, please let me know, and leave them in the comments below. Okay, so 2 questions for y'all. If you have listened to the album, actually. Which song is your favorite from the album? And then if you could pick a book for one of that said song, what book would it be and why? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I love hearing recommendations. So just leave them down below. But until then, hit like, subscribe. I'm literally almost at 300, and if I can get to 300 before the year ends, I'd love you all forever. But until then, I will talk to you guys in my next video, which is going to be my reading vlog for Shadow and Bone. So keep an eye out for that, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!